Good morning, everybody. Let's try it again. Good morning, everybody. Now we know everybody in the Sangha that owns a canoe or a kayak. You guys know why it rained as hard as it did this morning, don't you? Yeah. Tina and Tom like to go kayaking Smithville Lake. I bet it did that. No, it rained because today is International Mud Day. It actually is. You can look that up. So it didn't want us to have a day, International Mud Day, without some mud, right? So, so many interesting things going on. June is, of course, Pride Month, and I've been handing out some little stickers from TBC. Love is love, period. Don't need to define it, can't even be defined. So if you haven't gotten one yet, ooh, that was kind of fun. I like that. Wait a minute. Woo! Let's just sit there and do this all day. I kind of like this. And let's see, it's, also, I want to thank everybody that either attended or helped in some way our TBC day-long silent retreat yesterday. We had a wonderful turnout. About 35 people attended, and we were in meditation from 9 in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And those of you who have been practicing for many years, you already know that we're never not in meditation, right? But it was a formal silent retreat. And if you were not able to attend, that's okay. We do one every quarter. So TBC does 4 a year. And then we also do 2 4-day silent retreats. So, should be ample opportunities to be able to climb on board and do a retreat. And they are a very important part of the practice. So if you haven't done one yet, I highly recommend it. So I want to, the talk today, and by the way, welcome to everyone joining us from all around the world, all of our folks on our live stream. And what's interesting is sometimes when I look at the numbers, like on a rainy day or a snowy day, it's they collaborate. If there's 35 people not sitting here, then there's 35 more on the live stream. So it very much correlates. So this little phrase, as long as it takes, is actually a line within the Dharma Talk today that I found in reading something, and it's not an unusual line. I mean, we've heard that for many times in many different situations. But the phrase itself, for me, when I read that, there was just this kind of a kind of a relaxing into it, right? We set up our own timetable. I'm going to nail a 40-minute meditation in 10 minutes. Go. This is kind of how a lot of people approach the practice. And, there's this goal that we set up. Oh, I'm going to wake up. If it's the last thing I do, they set up this timetable. And when I hear this phrase, as long as it takes, there's a relaxing into it. Yeah. If not in this lifetime, I'll get 75 or 80 more. It's going to happen. And when you read some of the more contemporary readings about our practice, about Buddhism and some of the Western approaches, what we come to realize is that awakening, enlightenment is evolutionary. We're on the path, whether we know it or not. And it is going to happen. And so the struggle and the striving, the Buddha's like, relax. Even Jesus, relax. All of our great prophets, relax. Take it easy. Just love each other, And so that's kind of the basis of the talk today, as long as it takes. And what I'd like to do is, lest things become rote, R-O-T-E. Rote is, when we recite something enough times and we kind of even have it memorized, then we just blurt it out. There it is. We just say it. and it becomes rote. Have you ever gone through a drive-through, and the person on the speaker's like, welcome to McDonald's today. Have you using our app? And would you like some fries? And you can hear it in their voices. And so many of the fast food places now have gone to some sort of a computer recording, and it's so happy and excited that you're here. But the truth is that roteness, that's a thing. And so today, what I'd like to do, hey, Dave. Oh, does he start? Okay. Well, that's okay. What I'd like to do is I actually want to back the slide up here a little bit. And I don't know if you don't have to change anything, Eric, up there if you don't want to, if it's not too much trouble. But I kind of wanted to stop and take a look today at our refuge prayer. I better keep this. And I want to kind of break it down. And the reason why is so that these things that we say when we come here on Sundays don't become rote. And it's not just sound coming out of your face. This is a whole way of living your life, and a path to awakening. It's interesting. Some of you know that I taught high school theater for 23 years. I directed a very successful and large program in Olathe for many, many years. And one of the games that we would play with the actors was these games where, the rehearsal of the lines, right? And we would play these different kinds of games, especially games around improvisation. And if you were to ask anybody, why do actors play improv games? Well, most people will be, well, because it's fun. Yes, it is fun. Or they will say, well, so that if you forget a line in the middle of a performance, you're able to kind of recover. And yes, there is a piece of that as well. But guess what? That's not the main reason why actors play improvisation games. Actors play improvisation games because what they're doing is they're cultivating that feeling of the first time that I say it, so that they can then bring that to the lines that they've been rehearsing for 10 weeks, so that the lines don't sound rote, like you're at a fast food speaker, right? So they don't fall into that. It's like freshness. So that's what I want to kind of revisit this today. So let's take a look at these. The refuge prayer that we say every Sunday is less about looking closely at the words of the refuge prayer today and more about being mindful of the automaticness or habitual or rote quality of some of our life activities. And I talked about the theater training there. So we're examining the refuge prayer today and a way to invite you to examine not only this saying, this prayer, this recitation that we say every Sunday after Sunday, but also to examine how these kinds of roteness or automatic qualities can show up in our lives as well. And when our lives become automatic and rote, they lose their luster, and we just kind of become, what is it? Same stuff, different day. That's always, my heart always kind of sinks when I hear people say that. It's like, yee. So we'll take a look at the first one here. Of course, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We go for refuge, and we even have, these little gestures that we attach to this as a way of physically manifesting what we're saying. The Buddha, our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings. When you know who you are, you know who everyone is. The Dharma, the truth teachings, it also means the truth of this moment. It has a double meaning. The truth of the teachings, as well as the truth of this moment. This moment has a truth. We don't always know that because we're caught up in our own truth much of the time. And then, of course, the Sangha. And Sangha is not just the people sitting next to you on Sundays. Sangha is a way of life This has been retold countless times by all of our great prophets and teachers of all traditions. Love thy neighbor, what's the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is Sangha, all Sangha, not just here. And then, of course, we get into what are known as the paramitas, which is a little bit, it goes way back into the Hindu tradition, the paramitas. And so I kind of want to break these down a little bit today. The first one here is generosity. So in many commentaries on the paramitas, or they're sometimes referred to as the perfections, in Theravadan Buddhism, which is basically our root here at Temple Buddhist Center, there were 10 perfections. In many of the Tibetan and Vajrayana, there are 6 of the perfections, but that is not anything to ever debate or get concerned with. These are the perfections, and I want to kind of break the ones down that we're talking about here in our refuge prayer. So, in many of the commentaries on the perfections, generosity is said to be an entryway into the Dharma itself, a path of freedom and liberation all to its own. That generosity, and it's not just money, generosity of your time, generosity of your talents, generosity of your treasures, but generosity of spirit, that openness, that giving, that loving is a path all to itself. It is a true generosity of spirit. It is giving from sincere desire to benefit others without expectation of reward or recognition. It's so interesting because any of you that may have ever studied the Enneagram, which is an ancient personality test or exploration, but on the Enneagram, I am a number 2, and there's 9, and a 2 on the Enneagram is known as the giver, and an unhealthy 2 gives themselves away, but always with a subtle hope or expectation that I'm going to give myself away completely, but when I need you, you dang well better be there. There's a quid pro quo there. So you see, it's not true dana. True dana is to give without any expectation of reward or recognition. And so there must be no selfishness attached to charity or to giving. Work done to feel good about myself is not true dana paramita. And it's so interesting. Notice your body's reaction to a panhandler, somebody who's on the corner or approaches you and says, "Hey, you got $1?" And it's kind of interesting because I was approached the other day by one, and what they'll do is they'll find stuff, they'll dig through a dumpster and they'll find stuff, and they'll say, "Hey, I don't know what this is worth, but if you have a little bit of money, I could sure use it, but here." So they're trying to offer you something in return for some money, and for whatever reason that touched me. And I don't know, maybe that's what its purpose was, I don't know. But, I told the person, "No, please, you keep that. Here, take this," And the thing is that before that, I used to go through a whole set of machinations, right? Oh, should I give them? Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Oh, they probably got a car parked around, Mercedes parked around this. Oh, they're just going to use it for drugs or alcohol. Oh my God, the battle that took place in my mind. The person left 5 minutes ago while I was going, "Oh, you know you should." They thought I was crazy. So now when I give, I just reach in and whatever's in my pocket, I give it. There's no war, there's no battle, there's no nothing, and just wish them well. So it's an interesting moment in our life, in our practice, to examine what comes up for you when you're approached by a panhandler. Don't judge it, just explore it. When I used to live in Olathe in the suburbs, didn't have a lot of people on standing on the corners. When I moved to the Plaza area and became director of TBC, every corner's got a panhandler on it, a person experiencing some insecurity, whether it's food or shelter or clothing. And so I made the adjustment. I started to carry, small amounts of money in little rolls, and I'd keep some in my car and in my pockets so I'm ready. Because, I wasn't used to it. And so, but that's not the way life was there, but that's the way life is here. So I adjusted to it. So let that become a part of your practice. This idea of generosity. And Donna, when you give, check in. Where's the giving coming from? Am I expecting something? Am I giving so that I can look like a kind and benevolent person? Again, not Dana Paramita. Or do you just give freely with all the joy in your heart? The next one, ethics, I get a lot of questions about. People are always asking about this. So, Buddhist morality and ethics is not about unquestioning obedience to a list of rules. And yes, there are precepts that people can take, vows, precepts, ways of conduct. But most practitioners, for the most part, are doing the best they can. Because isn't it funny how the rules or the morals or the ethics are constantly changing? I mean, you can go across county line and it's a completely different set of rules and morals for the most part in different things and ways. Your different circles that you run in, your different circles of friends have a different set of morals and ethics and values and things like that. So, but the precepts are something like, in the Buddhist practice, the precepts are not like edicts or a set of rules that you must follow lest ye be condemned to, an eternity of fire. The precepts are more like training wheels. Right? We embody and work with those until we understand the true depth of these practices, and then can operate freely from that place. They guide us until we find our own balance. If someone were to break any of these rules, one should be aware of the breach itself and examine how such a breach may be avoided in the future. The result of an action, often referred to as karma, depends on the intention, not the action itself. So this is very important because people are always like going, oh, I broke a karma. Oh gosh, I'm going to reincarnate as a cactus or something, And it's not like that. That is not truly our way. It's not about, again, do you see the westernization of that? Everything is rewards and punishment. And it's not like that. Within the Buddhist tradition, it is about, if the karma is about intention. So if you're walking down the sidewalk and you step on a worm, obviously if you meant to do that, then there will be karmic repercussions. But if you did not mean, if that was not your intention and it happened, then you do not have to sit there and, throw salt over your shoulder or, whatever superstitious kind of a thing shows up. It's not like that at all. We're doing the best we can, and we're always on the lookout for our intention. My teacher used to say, watch when you reach to touch someone. What is your intention? So if someone is suffering or in crisis, oh, it's okay, you're going to be all right. Notice your intention. Was your intention to console? Or was your intention so that you feel better? Because how awkward do I feel when someone's crying next to me or is having a catharsis or is releasing something? And I'm so quick to, oh no, you're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. That's usually more about how I'm feeling than it is about consoling someone. If you were really going to console them, you'd ask them, how can I be a friend? How can I be here for you now? Would you like a hug? Instead of just diving in, oftentimes people are upset because they're feeling a sense of helplessness in their life. And then here you come and wrestle them to the ground to make sure you're feeling all right. It's not helpful. So noticing these things, again, it's not about good, bad, right, wrong. It's not about punishment or rewards. It's about waking up. What is the real intention when you touch someone? What's your intention behind what you're saying and doing? This is a deeper, truer meaning of ethics and morals. Because if you can come from every thought, word, and deed, come from a place of love, do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, because it's coming from a true place of love, not from some perceived need to say or do the right thing, all these egoic practices that we've embedded for the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, right? So this is kind of the idea behind, the ethics. So let's take a look at patience, one of my favorite. Kasanti paramita, or patience, is tolerance. It is endurance. It literally means, Kashanti paramita literally means able to withstand. It's the commitment to the long haul, right? Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh says there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. You're on it. You're here. Why are we striving and working so hard to get somewhere? You're there. Welcome home. And now we just walk the path. One foot in front of the other, kissing the earth with every step that we take. It is said that there are 3 dimensions to patience: the ability to endure personal hardship, struggles that arise in our life, patience with others, and acceptance of truth. And I'm not saying truth is, what this person said or what's on this billboard or what's on this really cool new t-shirt that Temple Buddhist Center has in their store now. Although, okay, but anyway. But it's acceptance of this moment. Radical acceptance. See, here's what we do. Remember, the disease of the mind is that the mind always wants things to be different than the way they are. Too hot, too cold, too bright, too dark. Oh my God, the list is endless. And it compounds and grows on each other. And then we suffer. Radical acceptance. I'm not saying you have to agree with what's happening. I'm saying you're accepting this that's happening because this is what's happening. Stop fighting. Stop pushing the river. This is what's happening. And I fully embrace this moment. And it may be very painful. And yes, you can take steps to try to help. But if there's nothing you can do, then you also accept that. So accepting truth refers to accepting difficult truths about ourselves too. Not blame, not judgment. Don't take out the baseball bat and start flailing on yourself because you said something that hurt someone's feelings. It is accepting difficult truths about ourselves. Yeah, sometimes I blurt. And when I blurt, I sometimes say something that's not skillful. And I accept that truth about myself. And I also accept that I can stop and say, hey, I'm sorry I said that. That was not skillful. So I can say I'm sorry. It might be in that moment. It might be 2 days later after I've had an opportunity to sit with it. To accept those truths about ourselves, that we might be greedy, that we might be, reactive, that we might be mortal, that we might be needy in some way. And also accepting the truth of the illusory nature of our existence, right? Accepting the truth that we are, period, and that all beings are subject to old age, sickness, death, to making mistakes, to being unconscious, to hurting people's feelings, to hurting ourselves. Accepting the truth of this human experience, all of it, every single bit of it. And when we open to all of it, we open to all the ways that we heal as well. When you close down to anything, oh, I'm not gonna go to see those people anymore because they don't let me do what I want to do and say what I want to say. When we close down to all these things, we also close down to opportunities to heal, opportunities to awaken. So this powerful practice of patience with ourselves, with others, and with this moment, this powerful practice of patience gives rise to a feeling of equanimity. It's that as long as it takes feeling where you settle in. I love the little saying that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it is that little tiny voice late at night that says, tomorrow I will try again. And so this powerful practice gives rise to a feeling of equanimity, one of the 4 sublime states of mind in Buddhism. Equanimity, we talk about those 4, right? Love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, the 4 sublime states. And so equanimity refers to a calmness of mind that makes it easier to ride life's ups and downs without being tossed about like a little boat on the storm. I often use the metaphor of a lighthouse that shines brightly in fair weather or foul weather. This is our practice because we understand. Why do we understand? Because we're looking inside and seeing all the things that before we were blaming everybody out there for being, what is it? If they drive faster than you, they're maniacs. And if they drive slower than you, they're idiots. Until we stop and look at all the people that we're passing or all the people behind us who are stacking up, right? And we realize, oh, I am them. They are me. So I want to move next to enthusiastic effort. I didn't realize how much time has gone by. You guys got another hour or two? Enthusiastic effort? Yes, that's bringing a sense of joy to everything that we do, even the things that are rote. Can you find the joy in it? Instead of washing dishes because you have to, it's not even my turn. Realize that we're creating a clean and a safe place for people that we love to nurture their bodies. Wow, it is a 180 shift. Concentration. Yes, right concentration is often associated with meditation. That right concentration is when we take the noble seat and we sit and we just observe. The concentration is not fixing, repairing. Concentration is about awareness, bringing awareness to every thought, word, and deed. And finally, wisdom. Wisdom is perhaps why so frequently the language of seeing is used to describe the attainment of wisdom. We speak in terms of seeing the truth, seeing things as they really are, because the attainment of wisdom is not an intellectual or academic exercise. It is seeing and embodying all these truths directly. embodying them. Wisdom is the key thing in Buddhism. Other traditions, we find faith is paramount. And still in other practices, we find that meditation is supreme. For example, yoga. In Buddhism, faith is preliminary. Meditation is instrumental. And the real heart of Buddhism is wisdom. Wisdom is in the body, not in the head. That's knowledge. And that's useful, but it's not what helps us to awaken. It is wisdom. Wisdom is the embodying of all these paramitas, bringing them all together within us. And so that way, within us, we can find the true nature of who we are. Wisdom helps us see that no one is suffering because we know that what they're experiencing, they must experience. Why must they? Because that's what's happening. It's this radical acceptance. Wisdom helps us understand that no one is suffering. Compassion says that it hurts anyway because we love. And so these two together form the wings of our practice and lift us up. Thank you so much. Sorry, I ran over a little bit, Dave.